bad. Good.
Let's just drop it, or let's just back it up there as close as we can get because the tire's flat. So here's our little Impala that I bought. This one is labeled as electrical damage. We are going to see what the deal with this thing is. All right, so here's the deal. I don't know what's going on with this car. Okay. All the junk inside of it tells me, and the paperwork tells me, kind of hints at that it was a repo at some point, okay? Then some dealer bought it, probably some idiot clean title dealer, because it is a clean title car, and couldn't get it to run or work. So it was put into auction as electrical damage, clear title.
How could I be so stupid?
Mileage unknown. I can't remember what the miles were on. I think we looked it up. So we noticed in the picture that if you notice right when we open the hood, bingo, all the fuses are pulled out of it. Now, I don't think that's our problem. I think somebody took the fuses out to keep the fuses. We do the same thing when we're going to scrap a car or get rid of the car. Car could be blowed up. I don't know. I really have no clue what's going on with this car. But we bought it for front end parts for one we have around back. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the fuses back in this car. Let me let this thing air out because it's full of heat and stank. We're going to put the fuses back in the car, put a jump box on it, and we are going to, oh, excuse me, we're going to see if it cranks. But one thing I noticed first, before we mess with this thing, let me show you. Oh, look at that, a piece of trash from my knees. All right, so if you get down here, kick panel's off. It's pretty common. If you, let's see here. Let's see where we at. If you look right here, what do you see? Okay, you see all them red and pink wires? That ties into your ignition. Okay, on finance vehicles, that box back there near that gray tube, which is your steering column, that's a tracker that disables the vehicle. Okay, it's always tied into your ignition. A lot of times they're either right in here or they are up near the battery or near the starter. It's a lot of areas that we have seen them before. Starter or under the dash is the most common. Probably under the dash is the number one spot, like big time. Starter is probably my second that I have found one on. I had one that would crank up one day, run fine for just a few minutes, and then it won't run again. And the battery was completely toast, completely dead. And then it would crank up again at another time, run fine. A couple minutes, whatever later, then it won't run again. What it ended up being is that there was a tracker down there on the starter, on the frame rail, way buried in there behind the radiator. And whenever we put power to it, that send the signal up to the satellites, which then send it back to the dealership, and in their system, then it would register that the car is running. They never disabled the tracker when the car got in a wreck. Payments weren't made on it because it was in a wreck, obviously, and then the insurance company already paid them off, so they never went in there and disabled the tracker. They never got the tracker back, and it would kill the car. So as soon as the signal left the car, went up to the satellite, and then come down to the dealer, triggered, come back. That's the reason why it would run for a few minutes for me and then cut off every single time. We took the tracker out of it, disabled it, got rid of the tracker, put the wires back together, car runs perfect. If you paid a payment on your car and for whatever reason, right or wrong, you need to get rid of the tracker, if you undo it, it's going to send them a notification that the tracker is disabled, but the car is going to crank right up and run without it. So let's throw some fuses back in this guy and see if he'll crank with the tracker on it. If it won't crank with fuses in it and the tracker's on it, then we're gonna take the tracker off and see if it'll crank. All right, so the cool thing about me is that I have one of these cars, like I said. So instead of dealing with trying to figure out where all the fuses go on Google or looking at your fuse cover, we're gonna go back here to my little one that I need parts for. I need a lot of stuff for this one. Some idiot, complete moron. You can see how this one's all tan interior. Look at the color of that door panel. Idiot. Silver door. They didn't even swap the freaking door panel. Even if we're not going to paint a door, which we've never actually done, you should still at least swap the damn door panel. All right, so here's my guy. And as you can see, I just need bumper, suspension, fender, the correct color door. I need to paint one. So yeah, I figured just buy a whole nother car instead of buying parts. So here's our fuse block, battery, everything. We got everything right here. So let's snap a picture of this. Then we're not gonna take this stuff out. Then let's go inside of our shop, get all of our relays that we need, put them in a new car. Let's put a battery in that car. Actually, we can just try it on the jump box first. But let's take care of the fuses first. So let's take a picture. All right, so we got all the fuses back in it. And so we definitely have power on the dash now. So it's not electrical. So whoever put in an auction lied. It sounds like a blowed up motor. Let's crank it again. It sounds like a rod knock. Let me see. Hey, what is that? Does it got oil in it? It does? I'm gonna crank it. See if that's, I'm pretty sure that's the motor knocking. Oh yeah, she's knocking. So it's a parts car. It's only got 177 on it though. That's why you never trust what the auction says the damage of the vehicle is. Never, ever, 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 ever trust it, because most of the time it's wrong. Half of these people that are checking it in are complete idiots. So that one's a parts car, which works for me. I bought it expecting to buy it as a parts car. I didn't buy it to run, but it's just funny how it's labeled electrical damage and it's blowed up. The person selling it wanted $12.50 for it. That's the reason why they put it in there as electrical damage and not as it's blowed up. They were trying to get $12.50 for it. I refused to pay $12.50. I bid on that thing for like 3 weeks. They finally let it go. I think I paid like $400, $500 for this car, and got everything. So if you've been watching the channel, you know what this means. Parts car, fix the dealership car. We crush the car, sell the cats, race car money, baby. All right, so let's talk real fast. I got to the house. I didn't even know what all I'm gonna film this afternoon. We're gonna film some working for another video, but we're gonna go ahead and close out this auction video. I had a comment on the channel, not mentioning nobody's names or nothing, just brought up a good point. There's actually a couple people that said they wouldn't have gave anything for the rusted cars. If you haven't watched the abandoned rusted cars video, go ahead and jump on the abandoned cars. If search for them, just type in abandoned cars on our channel, it should pull right up. A couple people said they wouldn't pay anything for them cars. Look, I get it. It's not worth nothing to y'all. That Maverick I bought was exactly what I was looking for. We're gonna cut 75% of that car out. If y'all follow anything with Street Outlaws or anything like that, when they build them cars, a lot of times all they use is a firewall and a VIN number. If it's a Chevelle or Nova or something like that, a lot of times they try to order reproduction roofs and quarters, because obviously they're building the whole car and then just adding skins to it. We all know how that works, right? The reason why they're doing that, number one, you don't have to cut out all the supports, okay? So you don't have to strip down a good car. It saves time. And then just use the quarters and the roofs. Number two, if you are not into the body industry or the collision industry, you probably don't understand that these cars, the metal is way thicker than the new stuff. So the reproduction quarters and the reproduction roofs are thinner, cheaper Chinese metal. It is what it is. If it's made in America, if you say it's made in America, okay, cool. It's still thinner metal. Trust me. When you're in the collision industry and you weld on a newer car versus an older car, you're going to burn through the newer car way fast if you're trying to weld in a panel because they're just way thinner, meaning lighter. So they don't use much of the original car at all. Okay, so I want to do like a 25.5, 25.3, 25.2, whatever it is, okay, somewhere in there. All it is a couple different bars that determine what your cage starts at. We want to get rid of the whole car. We want to cut the whole car up and either do carbon floors, aluminum floors, maybe some aftermarket factory Mustang floors, so it's still factory floors back in there, but we would do reproduction floors so that they're really cheap, thin floors, meaning lightweight, but it would still be a factory floor car if we put reproduction floors back in it because we're patching it. So them cars were perfect for that, being all we were looking for is 2 quarter panels, a roof, and a VIN number and a firewall. We got it. And I wanted the front strut towers. I got it perfectly. I got it. We don't want the deck lid. We don't want the doors. We don't want the glass. I don't even want the taillight panel because I'm going to be swapping out the taillight panel. If you know anything about the Mavericks, you know you can put Camaro taillight panels, add all kinds of different taillight panels, okay? I've seen everything in the world on the cars. So we don't care about the taillight panel. We don't care about the hood. We don't care about the fenders. We don't care about the bumpers. We don't care about the wheels. We don't care about the suspension. We don't care about nothing because everything's going either carbon, fiberglass, aftermarket. We don't want nothing except for the roof, the quarters, and the VIN number. That's all we want. We don't want the floors. I don't, at least. Maybe some people want to, cut the floors out, put the cage in, and put it back in. Whatever. Let's keep this moving. Look, this is all about building people's dreams and, seeing something and being able to get something for cheap and put some work into it. So the beginning of this video is the same deal with the IAA stuff. You can get burnt really fast. Your dreams can come all crashing down. When we were out there at the auction for the abandoned vehicles, I watched a pickup truck sale, okay? I can't remember if I went over this in the video. I don't think I did. A young man, I think it was at let's say 250. It was somewhere in the twos. He fell on 250. The scrapper, I think, fell on the 275. Or maybe he was on 225, scrapper was on 250. Let's do that. He didn't want to go 275. He was on 225, scrapper was on 250. You could see in his face, his whole world just come crashing down. He had probably really wanted this truck to work on and, probably had been dreaming about it for weeks on it. I watched this man look like his whole world come crashing down. The auctioneer picked up on it. It was a younger guy. The auctioneer looked at that young boy and said, look, scrapper will give me 250. Can you at least do 250? If you'll match what the scrapper will pay me, I'd rather give it to you than the scrapper. The boy agreed to the 250. He won the truck. I personally went up to the auctioneer within the next couple of cars and was like, hey, I personally know the scrapper. I was like, I do. He's a good guy. I was like, I'm glad that you gave it to that boy instead of selling it to the scrapper. I'm not going to use the scrapper's name. Because that boy has some heart to go into it. That boy has probably been sitting there dreaming of this truck. So we left out of there. I come back to pay and I videotaped none of this. That boy, not even an hour later, had, I think it was some old Ford Explorer or something. He was backed up to the front of that truck, hood up on the truck, and he was buried under the hood already. Had the back of his Explorer or whatever it was opened up, little toolbox back there and everything. He was pulling the dipstick. He was, just checking over all kinds of stuff. And I wasn't sitting there watching. I was in and out doing, going to pay, looking out the window, stuff like that. But he was trying to get this thing ready, obviously, where maybe he could limp it home. I'm guessing he lived nearby, where he could hopefully get this thing to fire up and go down the road where he didn't have to pay it because he probably couldn't afford a tow. Maybe he could. Maybe he's a millionaire. I don't know. But from the looks of it, it looked like he was giving it all to get this thing to run. I come back, let's see here, that was Saturday. I come back Monday to grab the Maverick, that truck was gone. The Rambler, that family stood there on video and was kind of down in the dumps because they were out on the bid. Auctioneer said, give me a minute, I'll call to see if it has a title to help you out. It had a title, they lucked out with it. That Rambler was gone. That's people building their dreams, man. That's people putting heart into something and looking to build something out of nothing. A lot of people look at some of this stuff and just see it as junk. Sometimes it's because to you it is junk. Other times it's because you don't know how to fix that junk. Other times it's you don't have the capability of fixing that junk. Other times it's junk because it costs too much to repair. You'll hear that a lot of times is, well, it's junk because it costs way too much to repair, more than it's worth. Well, it costs too much to repair because you can't do it. Because you have to pay somebody hourly rate. To somebody else, it's just their chance to learn and build their dreams in their backyard. So I'm gonna wrap this up. We ain't gonna drag this out. I just want to kind of touch on your dreams and stuff and a different perspective that sometimes people don't realize. Just because something to you is junk doesn't mean that it's junk to everybody. That could be somebody's dreams. You know, somebody could be really struggling in life, have a really rough life, not have anything, and just want a little project to kind of escape their hell in their backyard. And maybe when they get that little $250 truck, maybe that's their way of just going out there on the afternoon when the sun's setting with let's say a sweet tea, we don't have to say beer, and just turning some wrenches and trying to make stuff work. Some of us can relate, some of us can't relate. So we're gonna wrap that out here. I'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully you can relate. Like, comment, subscribe, share. See y'all later.